that?
How's up, guys? How's everybody doing today? Thank you for joining Robrick one more time. We always want to be thankful to every single one of you because you are the ones that makes this page what it is. Today, we have John Paul Leek and Juan, or Juanzo, however you want to call me, because our good friend Ryan refuses to talk about Crown Jewel. The guy will not talk about Crown Jewel because he
Refuses to
hates.
accept the Saudi blood money.
That's right. That's the best explanation that I could have given. I was gonna put it like in a longer explanation, but John Paul decided to just summarize it in like he hates blood money. So Ryan will not be able to join us today, and that's his stance. He's being the guy from the former quarterback from the 49ers, Colin Kaepernick, I think
Oh
is,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he's doing the same thing.
He's
He will
taking a
not be
kneel.
part of the Crown Jewel talk or anything related. So before we start talking about this Crown Jewel expectations review, what everything that is gonna about to happen in Saudi Arabia, October 31st on the WWE network. See, that's your plug-in, WWE. When are you gonna hire me? We want to say we have our page on Facebook. You can find us right there. You can find us on YouTube. Every single video is right there. The only difference is we call ourselves the original Row Break because there's like 10,000 Row Breaks over there. But we are the original one. You can find us on Twitter, OG Row Break, correct?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, all the logos are the same on all the social media, so find the logos and find our three beautiful faces, and you'll know you're
That's
at the
right.
right
Yeah, we
place.
have, if you like blondies, right there, Jean Paul X should be your call. If you like the GOAT, and we don't call Ryan the GOAT because he's the best of all time or the greatest of all time. We say the GOAT because he has the GOAT, the goatee.
I mean, he won't admit it, but he's the greatest when it
But
comes
yeah,
to the
he's the greatest
knowledge.
of all time. If you like Ryan, go ahead. Or if you like me, if you like a Latino kid like Eddie Guerrero, you like Rey Mysterio, you like Humberto Carrillo, Angel Garza, right here. I'm a little bit of everything, all of them at once. So, guys, me and John Paul, my brother, we're gonna talk about Crown Jewel. So, Mr. John Paul, what are your expectations so far? We have two
Yeah.
main events announced. We have Tyson Fury and Braun Strowman, and Cain Velasquez against Brock Lesnar. Take a
Those are the only two matches that I want to see, and I'm not even excited to see any of them. I'm mostly going to be laughing at this show, to be honest. All the matches, that are announced, which I don't even really know what is announced besides those two headliners, and then
the tag team.
the match that should be at Survivor Series with the Team Hogan, Team Flair. And then, I mean, it shouldn't be at Survivor Series with those two guys teaming the captains, but that type of match should be at Survivor Series.
Exactly.
And
I
then
agree with you.
the tag team turmoil match is like a
To
bullshit
crown
match
the
because
best in the world.
it's probably going to come down. It's probably going to be the New Day wins it. That's my prediction. So that's going to be a bullshit match. But the two headliners, I want to see what they have Velasquez do. I feel he's going to be more ground and pound, grapple, like more MMA style, which isn't what he wants to do. And I just think the Tyson Fury, Braun Strowman, that's just going to be a joke. That's going to be that'll give me a good laugh on
Let's start
on
us off,
Halloween night.
Mr. Jean Paul, if you allow me to, with the tag team. Ryan said to me yesterday in the little talk that we have for SmackDown Live that is linked into the Facebook page, so please watch that. Help us out with that. We talk about the whole SmackDown Live, all the thoughts, everything that took place in the show last night. 3 weeks of no changes, Mr. Leek. Ryan said this, and I want you to start me off like that. Ryan said, we're crowning, quotation, right? The best tag team in the world. The final two should be the champions, right? Should
Oh
be the
yeah,
Revival and the War Raiders. That should be ideal, correct?
I think
It's
it should be those two teams, but I can see the revival being like the second or third team thrown out.
exactly. So why in the hell you go and call this match to crown the best tag team in the world?
Because Crown Jewel, besides like the one or two main events that WWE books on these shows, everything else is a house show. Everything else is just guys thrown in a ring. They don't care what the outcome is because it's not for the American fans. This is for the fans in Saudi Arabia because they're getting paid $10 million or $100 million, whatever it is, for every show that they do, and they don't care. That's why they throw all these guys in because they're like it doesn't matter. Their stories don't even matter over here, so especially they don't matter over there.
Exactly. And for example, to me, like that's kind of like in a way to like say to AEW, uh, guys like, oh, we have the best tag teams in the world, when he's actually, is saying that to them, but if we all know that that's not the truth.
Yeah, and like they're gonna say, "Oh, this is the best tag team in the world. We're gonna throw all these guys in a ring, and it's gonna be an awful mess of a match." When AEW is putting on a tournament with great matches to crown their best in the world, so you clearly see which is the better way to get it done.
Exactly. Like for example, to me is like you just don't do that just to crown somebody and call them the best in the world. Because see, for example, with Shane McMahon, the idea at some point seemed to work, but in the end, he kept losing matches, so he was never considered the best in the world. There
Yeah, I
was
mean
even some
that
plans.
they had to
Yeah,
not
go
to
ahead.
go
Well,
too much into that storyline. They had something there, but they just drug it out too much. And then when you have the Miz lose and you keep that
yeah.
story going, like they were beating a dead horse. They just kept the story going and going and going, and it's like you gotta just end it.
Oh yeah, like I absolutely agree. There were actually reports that like Shane was going to be the WWE champion. He was going to
Yeah,
beat
I was gonna
Kofi
beat
Kingston.
Kofi. Yeah,
So I just feel that like for to put a match like this, I mean I understand you got to feature all the guys that you have in the roster, especially because there's many guys that will refuse to go to Saudi Arabia.
but see
Among them,
that's the thing. Like I don't know who they have to feature them for. Like
yeah.
these guys don't need to get paid. They don't need to make the Saudi paycheck. It's because WWE wants to. They could book this show and make it legit, but they choose not to. So it's them. They don't care. They're like, we're just going to throw all the guys in because Saudi Arabia is giving us more money than we know what to do with. So why not pay all these guys? And that's what they do.
And to me, the fact that like for example, like they didn't some people within the roster they didn't even know if they were going to work Crown
Yeah.
Jewel or not. That's really messed up.
And yeah, I was gonna say that's bullshit. Because imagine, especially when they have like the battle royal, it's like a 14, 16 hour flight, whatever it is. Imagine if you're like a fucking Mike Kanellis and you fly over there, you get off the plane, 14 hour, all this other craziness, to just be thrown out in 30 seconds and you're done and you
And
walk back.
is that
What is
even worth it to put your
no?
wrestling gear on? I don't think so. I
I
really
mean,
don't think
I
so.
mean, maybe for the paycheck. I don't know how much the jobbers make over there, but
Oh yeah. For the
yeah, I
people that
can't.
don't
Yeah,
know, the term jobbers is the kind of wrestler that always loses. So we want to like make this a little more broad so you guys
yeah.
understand the wrestling terminology for our newer fans or for our newer people that are checking the channel out. So I want to say to you, within these teams, which team for you at least, which tag team do you actually like? For example, Heavy Machinery, the
Yeah, I
B
mean,
Team, the
I
War
like heavy.
Raiders, Revival.
I like heavy machinery. I like uh the War Raiders and who the new. I like the New Day, but they're in like the Seth Rollins boat, but not as bad. Where they're just overexposed. You see them too much, especially with Kofi coming off his title win. And I feel that like while that was all going on this past year, the New Day had some undeserved title wins. They're a great team, but you don't need to give them the belt. They can be great on their own. But
And it's already their time has passed.
yeah, that's what I mean. They should be the ones doing the jobs for other guys, getting
They
other
should be
guys
putting
over.
up people like
Yeah,
tag teams, like you said, like Heavy Machinery,
like
War Raiders,
like who else is in there? You have
the B Team.
The B team, which is trash. They need to be broken up, and you need
Yep.
to package both those guys, Zack
Yeah.
Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. You give them the belts at Mania, and then you do nothing with them. They chase the 24/7 title. So
Yeah.
both those guys are, they're good, solid wrestlers, but WWE didn't do anything with them. So why should we
They
care about them?
exactly. They will if they will go to AEW or to any promotion because we don't want to present ourselves again as like
Yeah.
AEW marquee or anything. But like if they will go, let's say to Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, New Japan, they will be considered great wrestlers because Ryder and Kirk Hawkins are good wrestlers, like you said.
Yeah, they
For
would let
example,
those guys actually wrestle instead of just being a joke and you know.
even go to NXT. Go to NXT and, for example, fight against the Undisputed Era.
Yeah. Who else is in this match? Oh.
There, the New Day, you said the Heavy Machinery, Revival, War Raiders, all of them, all the
Oh,
teams.
I love the Revival. They're great. But again, WWE, it's like you almost forget that they're the tag team champions.
Yeah, because they don't feature them like they
Yeah.
should, correct? Yeah, I understand why. I understand how you feel because they don't even get wins on live TV. And they in some pay-per-views they're not even featured. So why like is how you present your own roster? And then you want people to actually get behind these wrestlers, but you don't even portray them well.
Yeah.
So
If I had
yeah,
to pick for who I think is gonna win, I think I'm going with the War Raiders because I think that's it. They even say that they're undefeated, and they dropped all the belts. They said all the names of the belts that they won, and they're the only undefeated. Blah blah. Are the only team to do that, and they're undefeated on WWE main roster. So I think they need to win. But like I said, my swerve, like that's who I think needs to win. But I can definitely see WWE having like the New Day win, or if they'd want to do something cool, you could surprise everybody and have the Usos be in this tournament. But I don't know if they should win because of what all the bullshit that they've been going through.
you're right. Like
But
for
that would
example,
be cool to have them debut, come back in
you're
this tournament at least.
you're bringing a great point. Like why would I mean bring the Usos back but don't have them win?
Yeah, they can be in the final four. Have the Revival,
The
the New
Usos,
Day, the War
New Day,
Raiders,
or
and the
Raiders, yeah.
Usos.
Because out of all the teams, those are the four teams that actually are believable.
Yeah,
You know
I
what?
mean,
If you
he-
want to put the
yeah.
swerve in my case, I will do Heavy Machinery just because how over they are, especially Otis.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would love to see Heavy Machinery win, but that's a thing where like I almost wouldn't even have the tag team champions be in this match, and then you should have this match be a number one contender and like whoever, because that's how WWE books it. So just have it be a number one contender for Survivor Series for whatever brand that the winner belongs to, and then for the next 2 weeks or however long till Survivor Series is, you can start to build a feud.
Yeah. For example, Mr. Eck. In this, what I want to say in this, I just, uh, I just feel that like they should have this match. I mean, you gotta fill the pay per view. It's 3 hours that you have to go through. I understand. Okay, do this whole thing. Don't just use the best in the world title or gimmick, whatever you want to call it. I just feel that like get a brand new tag team in this. For example, the Street Profits.
Yeah.
They were just drafted to Monday Night Raw. Why can you have them win?
Are they
Surprise
in it?
everybody.
Are they? Do you know if they're in it?
I think they might be. They might be. So give us some a little bit of Facebook, Google time, Google there. And in the meantime, once again, we want to say thank you to everybody that has been watching the show. And I'm gonna elaborate a little bit more when it
Okay,
comes.
so in this,
Yeah,
it looks like it's the OC, Bobby Roode and Ziggler, the Viking Raiders, the New Day, Heavy Machinery, the B Team, Lucha House Party, and Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. So the
see,
only ones,
they don't even have the revival.
no, the Revival are in there. I don't know if I
Okay,
said that, but yeah,
no,
they're in there. Yeah.
okay.
So the only ones we didn't mention were the House Party, the OC, and then Ziggler and Rude. But I don't see any of those teams
But
making
see,
a
for example, to
difference.
me, Ziggler and Rude, they're already done. I mean, they're already
And
worthless because they already lost the championships.
but here's a wild card that I'm seeing though. On the picture they're showing three guys for the Lucha House Party, three guys for the New Day, and then three for the OC. So if you have AJ Styles in there, that kind of changes it. I don't know if I don't think the OC is gonna win, but
But that's a little crappy that they have AJ Styles, in
yeah,
a.
it's just in the poster. It might only be Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, but I don't know. The
Hopefully, it's
poster's a
just
little
those
bit,
two.
yeah,
And but to me, those guys are good wrestlers, but they just book absolutely crappy. They're
yeah,
poorly booked wrestlers, and that's why nobody really cares about them. I
yeah.
remember CM Punk saying that um, Luke Gallows was one of the best wrestlers he's ever seen. I wouldn't go that far, but at least for his size,
Oh
he
yeah.
he can do a lot of things. and they've been champions twice, but both of those reigns were considered crappy.
Hmm. But then you
So
look what they did in New Japan, and
exactly, like they
yep.
have the whole the Balor Club or like the real OC and everything. So to me, to come to WWE and do this, it was really a step down.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the Viking Raiders are gonna win this, or at least I hope they win it. But if it's not the champions, then like I'm gonna go with you, and I hope Heavy Machinery wins it because I think that'd be good for them.
I will be that will be nice because I said like how over Otis is with the crowd. I mean the gimmick is fun. It reminds me of like a contemporary version of Too Cool.
Oh
And
yeah,
I will say that mainly because also the caterpillar, the worm,
oh yeah, yeah.
is make feel good moments for people. So I will say that when it comes to that. So now, Mr. Egg, I know that like you couldn't join us for Hell in a Cell, but this is the part that you come in and you tell us about this match that made Seth Rollins relinquish the opportunity to be captain for Hogan's team against the 5-on-5, Ric Flair against Team Hogan. I will say Seth Rollins defends the Universal Championship against The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, Falls Count Anywhere match.
Well, the whole thing with this is Seth Rollins to go into it a little bit is like we said, he's worse than John Cena when we hated John Cena at his peak of unbearableness. He's worse than Roman at his peak because Seth comes out and he cries. He's not a man. He doesn't stand up for himself. He says he does, but then on social media, he cries and he whines and he blocks everybody and he's a crybaby. I don't want him to be the champion. I'm sick of this guy, and they essentially ruined him. And I'm turning against Rollins because everything he's saying and doing is going against why I became a fan of him in 2016.
Mm-hmm. I will say the same thing.
And he, in this match, to me, I still don't see him dropping the title. Because the rumor is what's being reported is that they're supposed to be in a program until December.
Oh, wow.
And that The Fiend isn't going to appear on SmackDown until after that, even though that's
Wow.
where he was drafted.
Yeah.
So this is a false count anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say both guys don't get up for the 10 count. Then what? Done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Feud continues. So it's an easy way to book it. Because also, if the Fiend wins, what does he do? Does he go to Monday Night Raw? Is that what you get for trading over Alexa Bliss and
And
Nikki
Nikki
Cross?
Cross.
You lose
I
the
mean,
Fiend.
I
They
mean
like that.
that's for example. I want your thoughts on this because this goes along with the subject that we're talking about. Eki, how do you feel about the design of the titles should not feature the colors of the shows?
Oh, that's bullshit because it's so predictable. Like I
Because
don't
it's
know.
so. Here's the thing, brother. You can exchange from that, right? If let's say the Fiend becomes the champion of Monday Night Raw, Universal Champion, right? You
Hmm.
could easily swap and put Brock Lesnar. You know what I mean in Raw, because the strap is it doesn't have to symbolize the show.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you can't just.
Or
I
you
don't
would
know.
have to relinquish the title.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't. To me, they should have. They should have just booked it where the Fiend won, and then maybe Seth Rollins gets drafted to SmackDown.
Yeah, but
I
I
don't
have
like. To me, it's not like they fucked the whole thing up, and now they're trying to book themselves out of a hole.
yes.
And to me, like that, you could have drafted AJ Styles to SmackDown, Shinsuke Nakamura to Raw. Like the draft, like you said, everything was so predictable, at least by all the belt holders, because you knew none of them were going to switch brands.
And
It
then
wasn't
that's
like
my point.
it wasn't like they would draft the Revival to Monday Night Raw, even though they're SmackDown champions. It should be like, well, now you're the Raw champions, so you better draft, you know, the Viking Raiders next SmackDown, or otherwise we're gonna draft them and we'll have both champions.
That's what I mean.
It should have
Like
been
for
a thing
example,
where and then if they have both champions, they can either keep both belts or maybe they fight and then they unify the belt. I mean,
unified belt.
I'd love to see the Fiend and Brock Lesnar fight and unify the belt, but that ain't never gonna happen.
Oh yeah, that would be great. To me, and like I said to you, it should be either you make the designs of the belts not resembling the show that you're part of,
Yeah.
or They did what they did to Bobby Lashley when they did the draft on 2007, that he was the ECW champion, and he went to Monday Night Raw and he relinquished the title. He came in as Bobby Lashley. He didn't come with like the ECW championship. He actually came in as Bobby Lashley, and that's how he was presented.
Yeah, the only thing, like you said, about trading Brock Lesnar, I don't see them doing that because Fox wants him, and just, that's if Brock Lesnar got drafted to SmackDown, maybe that's where he, like, if we're just talking storyline reasons.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's what I want it to be, and it's like, maybe he can be like, well, I'm not going over there just because Bray Wyatt won the thing. Like, he shouldn't have been booked in a match with Seth Rollins to begin with. We're on different brands.
And that's what I mean. That's when, like, the draft, instead of helping, made things worse to book.
What WWE needs to do, and they probably won't, but I really wish they would, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but this is what just makes the most sense. It needs to either go in a no contest, or Rollins wins, and then it's done. The storyline with Rollins and The Fiend is done.
Yeah.
You get The Fiend on SmackDown, you start feuding him, he starts doing whatever he needs to do on SmackDown, and it's done.
Yes.
And after this match, Rollins comes out, he gets booed, he tells the crowd the same thing as Bayley. Screw you bitches. He turns heel, and it's done.
Yeah, because I think Rollins will be better actually as a heel. Because I think he plays a really decent heel. And I will agree with you. The only way that they can do this is making The Fiend lose. Yeah. Or like you said, like a no contest. Because his character to me is already destroyed. And for example, the actions that he did on the last episode of Monday Night Raw, destroying the Funhouse, to me the whole feud is absolutely dead.
That's why I think he needs to just maybe be off TV for not real long, but maybe like a week or two or something, and then you just bring him in on SmackDown. And I don't know how you introduce him, but do it in a creative way. Don't just have a Firefly Funhouse vignette and he calls out some guy. Like, make it legit, make it interesting.
Yeah.
And then you just reintroduce The Fiend on SmackDown and get him a belt. Maybe, I don't know.
Because like you said, I feel that like one person that comments on it, I think it was Tom or Skino, one of our fans that I want to shout out also. He said Kevin Sands, that's the guy. Kevin Sands is a good friend of Ryan. I want to shout out also you because you helped the show. He said even when Randy Orton burned down the Bray Wyatt's house, they did it even better.
Mm-hmm.
They did it in a better fashion. You know what I mean? He came in, he put gasoline all over, and
Seth Rollins, I don't know what it is. He just when he's in front of the camera, a lot of the times he seems so awkward and really like cringe and uncomfortable. Like he feels uncomfortable, and it's like if you're going out there and you feel uncomfortable or you're given that vibe, then you clearly are uncomfortable with what you're saying. So why doesn't he speak up? He's the champion. Be like, hey, I don't like this. Is dumb. This isn't me. This isn't. He's such a slave to the WWE machine, and that's what it goes back to earlier, where I'm like, I feel like I was betrayed by him because
he became very corporate.
Yeah,
he became.
So it's like he betrayed me, you know.
For example, like I want to because we have time here in our show because Road Break never ends. What are your thoughts about him saying that the Undertaker and Mankind should have been stopped?
Oh, I mean, he's spitting in their faces. That's
tarnishing the legacy of both of these men.
Because you got to think, like Undertaker, I believe he had like a broken foot or something in that match, so he's obviously hurt before they even go in. Yes. You know, Mick, and when we talked about in our top 10 Hell in a Cell matches, yes. Mick got thrown off that top of the cell early. If you haven't seen the match, which you must be living under a rock. But I feel like everybody's seen that match, but you might forget that that's like in the beginning of the match.
Yes.
When Mankind gets thrown off the top.
That's within the first 5 minutes of it.
So at that point, it could have been done. But obviously Mick was concussed and all this other stuff, so he wasn't thinking clearly. But he still went on. And I feel even if he was, he still would have went on because clearly he knew he was going to get thrown off the top. There's interviews with him and Terry Funk, how they talked about it beforehand. So clearly they knew that that wasn't where the match was going to end. They knew that there was other stuff going on. And, you know, to say that, that's just him trying to dig his way out of a hole. He
Yeah.
knew that this was a bad booking decision, and he's like, well, no one's going to talk shit on Mick Foley and
Undertaker.
The Undertaker, so if I bring their name into it, and it's like, no, you tried to save yourself, but you just dug your own hole deeper. So, I
I
don't,
will
like I
say,
said,
yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. So, and when it comes to this match, I just feel that like there was no need to do this. The only reason to me is like you're gonna put the title on the Fiend, but you're bringing a great point. Why are you gonna do that when he's part of another show? Unless you create this magical rule that the champions can be on both shows.
and the only thing, if you knew Fox wanted The Fiend, and you still were going to book this match at Hell in the Cell, you could have done it so many ways where the Fiend wouldn't get pinned, he wouldn't submit, whatever. Maybe he attacks the ref and he's choking out the ref, and then you have Triple H and whoever running out, and they're like, "We're calling off this match," blah blah blah. Like, you're assaulting officials,
He
and
gets
then and
suspended
yeah,
forever or
and
something.
then he gets drafted to SmackDown, and he's on a new brand, a new beginning, and that's how you tell the story. Because his gimmick would have still been good. You wouldn't have buried the character, but
I just feel yeah.
why would we expect them to think logically and think about the credibility of their, their
Well,
wrestlers?
you said it in our latest episode of Road Break and AEW Dynamite, which is on the webpage. So please check it out. Is everything that took place on during episode 3 of AEW's Dynamite. Brandon, Eki, John Paul X said it the best. Dave Meltzer said it. WWE plays a parody of a wrestling company, and they love to they love to have fun with us, play with our feelings, play with like our interest in certain wrestlers and everything. We get behind somebody, they will not feature them. They actually bury the guy, or that happens to the Fiend.
Yeah.
So what do we say? You think in your gut, Brandon the Booker, do you make the title change?
Rollins doesn't lose that belt. It don't matter what the ending is, whether it's a DQ, whether it's a no contest, whether Rollins pins him, he's not walking. Fiend ain't walking out with the belt. If the Fiend has the belt, you better believe I'll be watching Monday Night Raw because I want to see how this turns out.
Yeah, but see, for example, okay,
Or at least SmackDown, at least, because if the Fiend wins, there needs to be tweets. There needs to be something where SmackDown is like, "What's going on here?"
but see, for
And that's
example,
their
like that
champion.
will be a great way to create interest, right there. You just said it.
Unless they do
You
that,
create
and then
interest.
you have the brand warfare at Survivor Series. But is WWE that smart to book it like that? Probably
and, and,
not.
and only with 2 weeks, within 2 weeks to build for Survivor Series. So I
Mm.
feel the way that you're projecting this match, if the Fiend wins, which he will not win, is it will be a great thing. So I feel that like okay, false count anywhere, many things can happen. Hopefully, at least they feature the Fiend in a way that like his character is not even more dead or not
Oh
more
yeah.
buried than what it is before. And unfortunately, Seth Rollins for all of us, he just looked very cringe. His credibility has gone down because out of all this title, his title reigns, this is the worst.
Not
This is
even that.
absolutely the worst.
He doesn't even have credibility in the ring for me anymore. He would change his finisher up for these past couple years, do different moves, and he would do the Falcon's arrow and this and that. But now he does that same shit in every single match.
Super kicks, stomp,
Yeah. And
sling blade, and
the
done.
stomp is dead. The stomp might as well be like a chin lock or
Yeah,
something, or like
yeah,
an
it
arm
will be like a
drag.
basic move. Yes, I
Yeah.
agree. I
Like a
agree.
toe hold. Like the stomp is dead.
I agree with you. So moving along, we have the well, just very quick. Cesaro is going to be fighting Saudi Arabia talent. Al
Uh,
Al
what the heck is his name?
Mansoor.
Mansoor.
He won the battle royal. So
Wait,
he said
I have,
on Twitter, he said, "I will not lose in my home country." So to
and
me, to bring Cesaro to do that, why you have to job to this guy?
this is the whole. This is all I'm going to say about it, and I don't want to talk about it anymore because when I saw that was announced, it killed me. Because you know how much I love Cesaro.
Yes, yes.
Cesaro is so good that he's going to bring this kid to the best match that he can get out of him in whatever time that they're given. But like you said, he's brought over there to job to this kid out to get the cheap Saudi pop, and that's it.
That is it.
The fans will love it that Cesaro loses and that their hometown kid wins,
And that's
and
all there is to
that's
it.
it.
That's all there
And
is to
that's
it.
it.
And because that's all there is for you, that's all there is for me, and that's all we need to talk about that. Now, Mr. Eck, Tyson Fury, Braun Strowman. Are you excited about this? What are your feelings,
I'm
thoughts?
excited isn't the right word.
So give me the right word.
I'm more curious to see how bad this match is going to be because I know they say Tyson Fury, he doesn't have a fight until February, so he has all this free time. He's supposed to be in the performance center getting ready. This has been booked, what, 2 weeks ago? And we got like, what, 2 weeks away. So you got a total of maybe 4 weeks for this guy to get ready. Understand he's an athlete, this and that, whatever. 4 weeks is not enough time for him to get ready. Braun Strowman is awful in the ring. He's not good at all. He's no
He's
upside.
pretty basic.
How are you going to put these two guys in the ring and let them do anything? Because it's not a shoot. Because if it's a shoot, Braun Strowman is knocked out in 3 seconds. Done.
Yes.
So this has to be a gimmick, an actual wrestling match. So both these guys can't wrestle. I'm just excited to see how awful this is going to be.
Yeah,
I
well,
think Tyson Fury has to get the win. There's no way. How does he do the job to Braun Strowman?
yeah, and why? Why would you do that? Why would you lose credibility if you have
And
a
another,
match
like this
in
whole
February?
storyline is stupid. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Something with the OC and Braun Strowman, and when he punched AJ Styles, and they had AJ Styles sell that punch for like 5 minutes, I could have cried.
It, it,
You took the best, one of the best guys you have on your roster, and you're making him job out to this loser in Braun Strowman. Like
that's
for what is this storyline worth? Nobody cares. Who cares? The big money investors at Fox that love to see a sports-like feel, maybe.
But to me, that's not the way that you should feature like sports, like
No.
competition.
Because Fox is, I don't know what they're thinking because it's not like Tyson Fury signed on to a 5-year deal and he could become the face of SmackDown. He
No,
signed on for Crown Jewel and done.
and that's it. Yes, yeah, and done for the people that loved when we say
Yeah.
that word. And done. I just feel Tyson Fury. His feel is boxing.
Mm-hmm.
There's no need for a boxer to come to the wrestling world. How
No.
your roster feels when you bring an outsider to our world and their spot gets stolen from them. From this guy.
Especially because I heard a rumor for how much he's getting paid, but I'm not even going to report it because they also said that it was a gross exaggeration of how much he's probably actually getting paid. But
And that
he's getting paid way more than all these guys in that tag team turmoil match. He's probably
yeah,
getting paid more than Bray Wyatt, the Fiend.
probably. Yeah,
Probably
the only
even
guy
more than
that like he's
Roman.
making as much money is Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
And
and
Cain
Kane
Velasquez
and
that we're
Kane.
gonna
Yep.
talk about in a little bit.
So he's making more money than all your superstars who bust their ass and day in and
House
day out.
shows, TV,
Yeah.
appearances
And
everywhere.
and how many boxing fans, if you're going from 1% to 100%, how many boxing fans are going to buy a subscription? And you know what? Here's the funny thing. People don't even have to buy a subscription because the first month of the network is free.
Yes.
So how many fans are going to stay subscribed after that first month if they even decide to sign up to the network to watch this guy? Boxing fans.
Yeah. And, and
Zero.
that and that
0%.
and that's
None.
what I mean. That's what I mean.
And if
They
you're
don't
doing
need
this
to
to
keep doing
yeah,
this thing.
if you're doing this to bring more eyes to the product, you need to make it feel serious and legit.
Like for example, this should have taken place months ago. Months ago, because for example, the more you build, the
Yeah.
more interest people are gonna have. For example, Eki, if this would have happened, let's say at Mania, okay, and then it carries on all the way to the first show on Fox. Okay,
Hmm.
we have like a lot of ground to
Yeah.
play with.
Because then you could have had video packages with Tyson Fury at the Performance Center,
Exactly.
training, and all this other stuff. You could have Braun Strowman, doing like have a boxing stance and like punching punching bag and stuff like that.
Let's
And you
say
could have
Tyson
actually,
Fury has a match, right? Has a fight. Have
Mhm.
Braun Strowman be in the audience
Yeah.
just to see the match. Of course, don't have him if he's gonna if Tyson Fury loses. But you know what I mean? Like it's like build like, and again, we're not trying. I'm not trying to just say AEW so many times, but for example, we saw this thing. The whole Rubric team were working on more ideas and everything, and we saw that like Jericho and Cody Rhodes had a fight. They have like a little bit of a backstage
Oh,
brawl
at the Comic Con.
during
Yeah,
Comic Con. Why don't you carry your storylines
because
outside?
because to WWE this is a show. This isn't legit.
This is not
It, back
professional
back
wrestling anymore.
back in the 60s and 70s, even early 80s, the heels had to get escorted to their car, and the cops at the venue where they were wrestling would say, take the back roads, take this roads, because the people in the audience are going to be staked out when they got guns in their car and they're going to shoot you.
Yes.
People thought it was legit.
Yes.
AEW, obviously, the fans are smart now. They know it's not legit. They know the heels aren't really assholes. They only play one in the ring.
Yes.
But it's still nice for the fans because we know it's a work. We know it's all staged.
They still play
It's nice.
They play the same vibe.
It's nice when we see them play their roles in public because it's like, man, they really appreciate us as fans because they are appreciating their role on TV and they're sticking to their character. And to do that in public, some of these guys might be like, oh, that's awkward. I don't want to be the Undertaker when I'm at Walmart buying groceries. But as fans, we appreciate it because that's your dedication to your to your trade.
Yeah, that's your character. That's you.
Yeah, and that's what AEW does.
Thing.
But yeah, do you think these WWE superstars? Do you think when they go out in public, they don't, they don't want to be, they don't want to act like their TV character.
Yeah,
they want to act like
Seth
they're
Rollins. They don't want to be Becky Lynch.
Yeah,
they don't want to be Sasha Banks. So I agree with you. So hopefully this match is quick. But to me, what do you do with Braun Strowman then? You keep burying the guy. In any main event situation that this cat has ever been into,
would you be surprised
he
if
loses.
Braun Strowman won?
I
wouldn't be surprised.
I will be I will be. What do you do with Tyson Fury then?
Well, he's his once and done. He's done after this.
Yeah, but for example, okay, then you're gonna lose all the momentum for your match for your fight in February.
Yeah, but I mean that's legit though. That's a shoot.
I mean, I know
that.
What
I mean, that's.
I know that, but exactly, but the guy that he's gonna fight with, he's gonna say, oh, if you lose in an environment that whoa, it's not legit.
Why do you bring in Tyson Fury? You brought in a Mike Tyson in the Attitude Era to get DX over more than even though they were already the most over thing in the company. You bring him in to get them over, make them legit, and then Stone Cold that made Stone Cold more legit. Mm-hmm. So that's why you brought him in. So why are you bringing Tyson Fury in?
Tyson never had a match.
Well, yeah.
For example, they kept the guy. They brought the eyes of the audience, but they never merged both worlds. Because he said, "Oh yeah, I can referee one match, but I'm not gonna fight." But see, they did the same thing with Mayweather, and that was a crap. Because the Big Show developed the KO punch. He was pretty popular back then, and Mayweather won.
Well, with this, if Braun Strowman wins, where does he go from here? The only thing I can think, and God forbid, is he'll be, well, I beat Tyson Fury, so I want Brock Lesnar again.
Yeah,
and we gotta see that bullshit. So hopefully Fury wins and he legit goes into a shoot and knocks out Braun Strowman, and we don't have to see him for a while.
Yeah, and then he needs a vacation. He needs to be repackaged. He needs different things. Work on his craft. Work on his wrestling abilities.
I don't know why you couldn't keep Eric Rowan on SmackDown and just get all these guys into do a new Wyatt family.
With the Fiend.
Mix the Fiend with the Funhouse. Mix them all together.
And
or not the Funhouse.
These are my new
Fiend,
friends.
Bray Wyatt and his family. Yeah. The Wyatt family.
It will be nice to see Bo Dallas in it.
Bo
Dallas is legit Bray Wyatt's brother. And they don't play with that either. So they are completely they're very stubborn when it comes to that because they never match their brothers.
Yeah.
And you know that some of the best tag teams is when there's real familiarity.
Oh, yeah.
The Hardy Boys, they're brothers. The Rougeau brothers were brothers. So to me, that's what they should do. I just hope, like you said, the match takes place, in less than 5 minutes. Because I don't see him being a boxing match. And worse, God forbid, we see a wrestling match between these two. Because animosity between them doesn't even feel real.
Yeah, no, they could have easily cut a promo and did something better to start this feud than they did, but
So yeah, especially the fact
yeah,
that he couldn't break the pen, and then he tries to do it again, and then he does it. To me, I don't really see them being legit when it comes to that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when it comes to that. And let's moving forward. Moving along to the main event: Cain Velasquez against Brock Lesnar. What are your thoughts about that? We saw the beginning of this feud when Brock Lesnar won the championship to Kofi Kingston in less than 3 seconds. Cain Velasquez comes out with Rey Mysterio, and the rivalry starts from the previous match that they had at UFC at 2010.
to go back to what you said about Kofi, when we did our SmackDown review, I was like, blah blah blah, happy Kofi, the title's off him. They did. I will say though, they did him dirty. 3 seconds was kind of bullshit.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah.
they screwed him. They jobbed him out hardcore. That was pretty bad. I,
And the
I
fact that
wasn't.
like
I
he hasn't
wasn't a.
even,
Yeah, I
yeah, I'm
wasn't a
sorry that I
fan.
cut you off,
No, that's
but like
fine.
the fact that he hasn't even got like a rematch, or I not want to say a rematch, but he can't even talk about the title anymore. He's not even
Yeah,
in title contention.
yeah,
He can even lobby for like a number one contenders match. He was like,
yeah.
"Kofi, okay, you're done, thank you."
Yeah, he went from the main event scene, and when he got squashed, he went back to the tag team.
Yeah, he's go back where
Yeah,
you always
yeah.
been, where you always
But
belong.
back to this match though, it's too soon. I don't. I mean, Velasquez can clearly do moves. We saw highlights from his matches. And is it what he had 1 or 2 matches in AAA?
One match at AAA.
I was telling you, like I said to you, I feel he should have stayed in AAA, honed the craft, got his lucha because he wants to do lucha libre style.
Yes.
Get that over with the general audience because if he wrestles a bunch of matches, I feel the way AAA presents themselves in their matches, and he would have he would have gotten over, he would have gotten popular, and with his name value, that would have reached the mainstream at some point. And then all of us, and mostly the WWE, just the fans who strictly watch WWE, they would have eventually seen his work in AAA and seen his style, and then they might have liked it. And then you bring him over here with that, because he's going to essentially just be a Brock Lesnar 2.0,
Yeah.
not like a suplex machine, but he's going to have that UFC feel, that UFC just aura, energy about him,
Oh yeah.
and it's. I don't want a clone of Brock Lesnar. I don't know if it was Kane's choice to wear the mask in AAA, but I like that because then it hides his face, and you're not going to go, "Oh, that's that UFC guy." You're
Hmm.
gonna go, "Oh, look at this big dude. He's doing these like Hurricane Ranas, and he's springboarding off the ropes. Like, who is this guy?" Because you might not know. I don't know what his name was in AAA. Did he use Kane Velasquez
No,
or
he
did
was
he?
then Cain Velasquez. Yes, he
Oh,
was Cain
okay, okay.
Velasquez.
So he
Yeah,
used
he
his
was Cain Velasquez.
actual name.
Yeah, he just
But
wore
like,
the mask because of how traditional and the meaning of
yeah,
the mask
yeah, yeah,
is for
yeah.
the Mexican lucha libre style.
But that's what I mean. Like WWE, they don't care about lucha libre because I would have loved if he wore the mask. If him and
Well,
Ray came out with a mask, that would have been badass.
even Andrade Cien Almas did that for
Yeah,
NXT Takeover. He came
yeah,
out with a mask. Of course, he took it off, but like over there in Mexico, he used to wear the mask.
yeah.
And for example, what do you envision the type of match that we're going to see at Crown Jewel? Is it going to be like a UFC, or do you see being a wrestling match?
I see. I think you gotta, with the way they're presenting it, you gotta mix both in. You gotta have these guys obviously not laying into each other legit, but they gotta lay into each other with the punches, make it look as legit as possible. Even though Lesnar does that every match he's in, I feel he always makes it look legit. Even if he's out there squashing, the B team or whoever, he always like even if he has a smile on his face, his moves always look devastating. I wish this would have gone. I don't like how this is fast tracked. I wish we could have seen Cain Velasquez in a WWE ring and see what he had to offer before. But I think it's going to be both. I think it's going to be like a fight and also a wrestling match.
I agree with you. I mean, I think it's going to be a lot of hard punches. I think that it's going to be a grapple. It's going to be very UFC kind.
Oh yeah,
And then,
another thing what we said about that made me think how they talked about Lesnar's scar. So
Mm-hmm.
I think they will do a lot of punches because how he said, oh, he'll scar you on the other side of your face or give you a matching scar. So I think they'll sell that storyline. So it'll probably be a bunch of punches to the face.
That's
Not
what I'm
yeah,
saying. It's gonna be like a very like stiff match.
but
It's gonna be a lot of like
there'll probably be
Japan
no
style.
there'll probably be no color. There won't be any juice,
Oh well, the
no
you know,
blood.
being Crown Jewel, hopefully they will do that, right? See, that
Yeah.
will be interesting.
That, I
And
mean,
then I think they're gonna mix
if
it
they
with
do that, it would get at least an extra point in my book.
yeah. And then, for example, to me, if they can do a few wrestling holds, that would be nice because I'm
Mhm.
assuming Cain Velasquez can do a few moves, and
Yeah.
Lesnar has a lot of moves. He can do the belly to belly, German suplex city, F5.
But
But in your words, Eki, who wins this match? Who is
oh,
it? Who?
it's for the title, correct?
I think so.
Even if it isn't, I'm pretty sure I heard it was for the title. And with that being said, it almost cements for me 100% confirms that Lesnar is going to win. The same
Okay.
thing I said about all these other new champions, like we talk about AEW with Riho and Jericho. You book these matches and these title defenses, but the story's not there. So you know you're not going to give it to him. In certain aspects where it was Lesnar and Kofi, there really wasn't too much of a story, but you knew the time was coming.
Mhm.
That the writing was on the wall. You knew that Fox wanted Lesnar. So why would you immediately just give it to Velasquez? Why wouldn't you just have Kofi hold it and give it to him? Because why would you want to do this big money storyline with these two former UFC guys? Like why I don't know why you would want to do that now and just get rid of it, but maybe
Yeah.
WWE, maybe they're
Well,
going to do it in a way and have it where it's like, oh, Kane was hurt, so it wasn't legit, and then you book it down the line and he's legit
yeah.
and because he's fully healed. I don't know. I think it's all happening too fast and they're
Well,
screwing
one of
themselves
the
over.
reports that
But
one of the reports that my sources kept telling me, and this is exclusive road break for you guys, exclusive for Jean Paul Leec, is the plan right now, current plan for WrestleMania 36. Cain Velasquez against, imagine this, Jean Paul,
against Kane.
Universal Championship match, Bobby Lashley.
No, your sources
And
they're wrong, dude.
and Lashley is a Universal Champion. That's all I gotta say. He's already been approved by Vince, USA Network executives, and WWE officials. That's the plan going forward. Whether it's gonna crystallize into that
don't see
program,
it
I don't.
happening. Now, see, this is the thing. If you would have booked Bobby Lashley, a legit shoot fighter, like if that should have been his gimmick, he should have came in and said blah blah blah. Like I can wrestle, but I'll knock you out. Blah like talk that
I'm
he's
an
the tough.
MMA fighter. You
Yeah,
know, I can
talk
knock
like
you
he's
out.
the toughest dude in the thing. Not coming out there smiling, and then that awful segment with Sami Zayn and his sisters and now he's fucking Lana and screwing over Rusev and all that other bullshit. But I don't know if it happens. I mean, what say do I have? If if that's what they do, then I can just keep watching AEW and watching the pay-per-views. So
And then you're
our
not gonna
channel keeps
watch.
growing. But other
But
than
that
that,
to me, for example, because that also like it means that, like, for example, it makes it worth it because Cain Velasquez just signed a multi-year deal with WWE. So what are they going to do with him is still up in the air. But I feel if they do that, to me, it's also like, okay, you're going to make this guy champion of both brands, or at least the Raw brand, when you're not even for sure of what this guy can do.
yeah, I mean, I feel like if that has been reported and that's a thing, that could have easily been said, oh, yeah, Kane, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. Sign with us. We're going to give you the championship at Mania. Sign this. And he signs. And then 2, 3, 4 months from now, oh, plans have changed and creative. And that could have all just been a sweetened the deal for him to sign.
Mm-hmm.
It's still too early. Bobby Lashley could, some guy one of them could legit get hurt. Something could happen. But I mean, if that's the case, I don't know. That'll probably be the worst WrestleMania yet. They keep outdoing themselves every year, but
They keep trying, right? They keep trying. I mean, yeah, I will say that. I hope that's not really the plan that takes place unless somehow magically you become Bobby Lashley into this killing machine that we haven't seen yet.
But it's too late. The only way you could have done that is when he was gone for a little bit before they brought him back with this Rusev storyline.
I will say, yeah, I will say that's the same thing.
Now that
I
you
agree
started
with you.
him in this storyline, it's done.
Yeah,
Because
he's not meaningful at all.
Mania's in what, 5 months, five,
Five
six
months.
months? Yeah,
Yeah,
no, that's you would have had to start this, like I said, now, and
he
it's
will have to
already
be
too
now.
late.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
he
already
will.
too late.
He'll have to beat Brock Lesnar also in the meantime, so he actually becomes legit. So we actually
Yeah,
believe that he can do legit things in the ring and everything. So, my God, in this case, I want to say, like you, I will go with you, Brock Lesnar. Brock
yeah.
Lesnar,
There's
that's
no
your
way.
champion.
There's no way they
That's
change the belt.
that's a WWE guy. They have to go with him. Unless that, like for example, like Cain Velasquez wins in Saudi Arabia, and then they do a rematch at WrestleMania, and then
Yeah,
Brock
but
Lesnar
that's
get his win back.
But if I don't know how hurt Velasquez is, maybe they do something where Brock beats him bad and then he's hurt for a while because you had Brock knock Mysterio out of commission, you had him knock, Dominic out of commission, but then you don't want to make Velasquez look weak, but at this, somebody's got to lose.
Yeah,
So you make your
yeah.
champion look weak or do you make the already injured challenger look weak?
I mean,
Somebody's got
if
to
they play
lose.
that in the match, that would be nice.
Yeah,
Because
so
hey, I lost because my knee is still not
But
good
I don't
enough.
see Velasquez winning it and holding it. If you have the rematch at Mania, Lesnar needs to be the champion going into that match. I don't think you can have Velasquez be the champion like from now until Mania. I don't know because just what can he do and how healthy is he?
And who also is gonna he's gonna face during these
Yeah,
months because it's like especially being Fox and Fox, you probably want to have your champion defending in every main in every pay per view and even sometimes in their own show. And I don't see Velasquez doing that a lot. I see him like having the same schedule as Brock Lesnar, that he will be very limited. For example, this
exactly.
episode of SmackDown, he wasn't even there.
Yep. But
So
they're supposed to be on next week. But
yeah, we'll see what happens with that. So any closing thoughts on this? Are we gonna be watching Crown Jewel? You and me? The answer will be what? Yes.
yes, I'll be watching it. I definitely won't be sitting there watching it like I watch Dynamite, but it will be on in the same room that I am in.
Yes, and you and me will be reviewing it with all the everything that's gonna take place because you know what? We respect Ryan's opinion. Ryan has the same opinion as Daniel Bryan, as Kevin Owens, as Sami Zayn. He will not be traveling to Saudi Arabia with the wrestlers. He's gonna stay at his house and he will not watch Crown Jewel. And we hope that like these matches that we just mentioned are not the same as like Bill Goldberg and The Undertaker.
I
That
don't know
turned
if
out to
anything can
be.
be that bad, but hey,
You never
This
know.
Tyson Fury, Braun Strowman, I think will take the cake.
Hopefully it's not as bad. Hopefully they actually somewhat decent. The pay per view, for example, the women are not gonna have a match once again.
Hmm.
If I'm WWE, I'm smart enough not to bring my women to the show because they're not gonna get a match. I know they did that last time, and they brought Alexa Bliss and Natalia to Saudi Arabia, thinking that they were able to have a match, and they said, nope, nope, that's not going. So we pay you the money. We whatever goes is whatever we tell you to go. So I
Oh,
want to thank.
we didn't talk about the Flair, Team Hogan.
Oh well, what's there to talk about? No, I will say, yeah, let's talk about that.
But yeah,
Let's
we'll go
talk
just
about.
for a couple minutes. I'll just give you my thoughts and then you give me your thoughts on it.
Of course, of course.
I think that they need to do, which they won't, but they need to do storylines in this. You had that match the other week where Orton beat up Ali and pinned him, whatever. It was a pretty decent match for what it was, but a lot of people were shitting on it because they're like, what's the point? Now, if you have them continue that and you have Orton be the last guy on Team Flair, because, they have the history, evolution, and all that, he'd be the last guy, and then Ali is the last guy on Team Hogan. Ali pins him, you continue that storyline. But is that going to happen? No. It's going to probably be Roman Reigns and Hogan standing there tall, and that's who wins.
I will say, yeah. Well, now we have a new team captain in Roman Reigns.
Yep, that's what I mean. I think it's going to be Roman and Hogan, and that's going to be it.
Yeah, and like you said, this. Okay, you wanted my thoughts on this. This match, I'm gonna go with whatever what you said the other day. This match should be taking place at Survivor Series because if there's a match that resembles Survivor Series, this is the type of match that should be taking place during that pay per view. Now, they do it at Crown Jewel just because they want big names. I said this in the review last night, so you can see it. Okay, and I'm not plugging it in, but you can see it. Just because they want Hogan and Flair, and they want 5 guys that like they don't have anything to do with them, and that's the only reason that they put Roman Reigns as the captain. And of course, Flair's goes with Randy Orton, and the last 2 are probably going to be Roman Reigns and Randy Orton. And you could have, I don't know if you could have a feud between the two because we've seen this before.
With who?
Roman Reigns and Randy Orton.
Oh no! Like I said, the only feud I want to see out of it is just the Ali Randy Orton because that goes back to the match. What was that at the Elimination Chamber or before?
No, that match was at the Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, where he hurt it.
That was at the Hell in a Cell. So yeah, I agree with you. That's the only thing that you could do and actually have Ali pin Randy Orton. For example, Roman Reigns could do the spear. Randy Orton is laying on the mat, and then Mustafa hits his reverse 450.
Yeah.
And then he wins, and then you keep the feud going, and of course Tim Hogan is going to get the big pop because they all want to celebrate, they all want to do the Hulkster and all of that and all of this. So they need to do all of that so they get the crowd going. To me, this type of match should have been taking place at Survivor Series. It's just a way for them to feature 10 guys. To me, if they carry the storylines with implications of the next pay-per-view, that would be nice. For example, okay, the only way that they can do this as a rematch at the Survivor Series, but put implications on this. For example, if Tim Hogan wins, they all get title matches. Something like that, right?
Yeah, I mean,
give them something to fight for.
I forget how the rosters all go, but is Team Hogan all Raw and is Team Flair all Smack? No, because Randy Orton's all Raw.
They're mixed.
See, it should be where, I mean, even though Charlotte's on Raw, but fuck that. Should be Ric Flair is SmackDown, and then Hogan is Raw.
Hogan is Raw, and then you fight for brand supremacy.
Yeah. At Survivor Series anyway. At Crown Jewel, you can keep it the way it is because it's already too late, and Crown Jewel doesn't really matter anyway, but that's just how I would do it for Survivor Series.
To me, the implications need to be like that. For example, Tim Hogan wins, and then Flair asks for a rematch. It's like, hey, those were not my best 5 guys. I'm going to give you these guys. They all belong to SmackDown. You give me your first 5 guys from Raw, and you have a match. And for example, like Tim Hogan can be Aleister Black, Cien Almas, and then you can have like Ricochet.
Yeah, and you could even my history might be off, but wasn't it when Hogan and Flair had matches? Wasn't it supposed to be like a 2 or 3 match thing, and then they only did 1 match where Hogan won, and then Hogan wouldn't do any more matches with Flair because he had to put him over? I think there was something like that.
Hogan has a history of doing that.
So
he did that pretty clearly with Shawn Michaels for SummerSlam 05.
If that happened with Flair, I feel like Hogan should win here in Crown Jewel, and then Flair should cut a promo and be like, "You screwed me over once with this. You're not going to do it again. Where's my rematch?"
And then they do it at Survivor Series, yep. and then Flair gets his win.
But will they do it? No,
because like I said, this is a filler. Like you said, that's why I even forgot. I'm sorry, Robrick family. But see, that's why I have the brothers also. They are clear-headed than me. A little more in the game this time. So I want to thank John Paul Egg for that. So yeah. I think that covers everything, all the matches that we have so far. There might be more matches announced. We always have like 2 more weeks of build-up. So
yeah, if anything else gets announced, we'll mention it in SmackDown or Raw video. Whenever show they debut this match on.
Yes. Yeah. Very quick, John Paul, your thoughts of the new SmackDown. Has anything changed?
No, it's the same show on a different night.
Yeah, the Fox hasn't been able to change anything yet, correct?
Yeah, no, and I don't think I don't know even know if they care.
I
Because
don't even know if they care.
if they cared, I feel like like I said to you, all their analysts would have a more serious tone. All like the Fox analysts from hockey and baseball and football, like they all treat wrestling as a joke. So they come off. None of it comes off serious. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
Fox
agree.
ain't doing a good job. But
I absolutely agree with you, and this concludes our predict. I don't want to say predictions, but it's just a whole review of what is about to take place in 2 weeks. Our thoughts when it comes to the Crown Jewel event, and like I said, John Paul and I will be reviewing this pay per view. He will be laughing. I will be laughing because this pay per view is going to be hopefully laugh for everybody because this pay per view should not be taking place. And I'm not even saying because the Saudis don't deserve this kind of big event pay per views or extravaganzas. I'm just saying because the type of matches that they're putting on, or the lens of things that they're going to do just to get the crowd happy, are completely ridiculous.
yeah,
They need to actually concentrate on the wrestling itself, make the titles meaningful one more time, and stop doing these dream matches that they're not even dream matches because in our wildest dreams we thought that Tyson Fury was going to be feuding against Braun Strowman. I would say Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar is something that along the lines we you could have think of, and now is becoming a reality. But bringing another boxer is another Mike Tyson, another Muhammad Ali, is another Floyd Mayweather to the wrestling world, and that takes a spot for a wrestler that has been wrestling, since 10, 20 years ago, and never has gotten to that type of spotlight.
yeah,
So, guys, this concludes this episode of Road Break. I want to thank John Paul Egg for his views, his expectations of what the Crown Jewel is going to do, all his thoughts. I want to thank every single one of you that is watching the video. Please comment, subscribe to the channels. We are on Facebook, right? We are on YouTube. We are on Instagram. We are on Twitter. Just find us Road Break. The logo is always the same. We appreciate the feedback. We'll be back soon, guys. So please just stay tuned. Jean Paul Egg, I hope you have a great weekend.
yeah. You
And
too. Ah, that.
ah,